Hello, everybody. It is a Wednesday. Weather Weenies. Ryan, Brett, and Dana Osgood with you, and we have a jam-packed show today.
We do. It is Throwback Wednesday because we are back in the weather office. Our stream room was currently occupied, so we're here just hanging out.
It's funny. I forgot I had to put a microphone on for this because I'm used to the podcast going right in front of me. So before we get started with the weather, which there is a lot to talk about, we have an important follow-up to something we discussed last Thursday.
I promised an update on how my ski experience went, and I will say, I think I did pretty good.
Take a look.
It's a little bit like riding a bike. You do start to pick it back up again. Like during my lesson, I was kind of like, all right, I remember some of the stuff that's going on here. Though like riding a bike, you can only get to the skill level that you had previously. So I was able to do the bunny slope. Then after my lesson was over, I did a couple greens. I rode the lift. I was able to get off the lift without falling most of the time. So I think I had a great experience. Went to Pleasant Mountain. And I would definitely go skiing again.
And
I had so much fun.
Friday was cold.
Friday was very cold. I was not cold, I think, because I was dressed very appropriately. I had my mittens, ski socks, coat, etc. And, you know, just the adrenaline of skiing keeps you warm. But
I was a little worried for you in that your first day back out was going to be a day you'd have to really bundle up. But I'm glad that didn't defer.
It was like sunny and nice, though.
Yeah.
So, like, at least a little bit of that, like, January sun, I think, kept me warm a touch. It was a little cold on the lift after lunch.
Yeah. Sun gets lower.
Sun gets lower. I was tired after I ate a bunch of nachos. So I had a great time.
Well, good job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I will go again this winter. So 10 out of 10. Thanks, Pleasant Mountain. It was great.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to continuing to follow Dana's skiing future and career.
My ski journey. No Olympics in my future, but at least when I fell, sometimes I could get back up.
There you go. We are going to basically skip over what's coming tonight because we just have so much other action to talk about.
Yes, it's a very busy weather week, both for us and elsewhere in the country.
Absolutely. Tonight we're going to have snow showers that move through. Depending on when you're watching this, they may have already gone through. A little bit more persistent snow, as we've been talking about now for a couple of days, from the mid-coast into eastern Maine, and that's where a few inches are most likely.
A pretty familiar rodeo, as they say.
Absolutely. Our Thursday, we actually very briefly do warm up. We're going to have temperatures that rise above freezing.
Wow.
May even hit 40 on the coastline. Both Thursday afternoon and Friday afternoon, though, there are chances for a few snow showers and squalls. You see them there coming in out of New Hampshire and Vermont. Sometimes it can be tough to get these out of the mountains, but both days it looks like it's possible that even farther south we see a quick squall.
Yeah, enough of a chance to put in the 7-day forecast, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll play you through to Friday. We basically take a step down in the temperatures on Friday, but it's not to the levels we'll be over the weekend at all.
It's a step down before the cliff happens after that.
Exactly. And there you see again some scattered snow showers and squalls on Friday. I think given the fact that Thursday is a little bit warmer, they could create a coating if you get them. I think Friday, if these come to fruition as this model shows, they have the potential to pack a little bit more of a punch since it'll be colder.
Yeah, agreed.
So then let's talk about the weekend. We obviously know the cold is coming.
We've been
well
prepping
predicted
for this for days at this point.
Yeah, and the forecast temperatures haven't changed a whole lot. We start Saturday morning with temperatures below zero. We end up Saturday afternoon in the single numbers for most of us.
That, though, is thermometer temperature.
Correct.
Wind chill is a different beast.
And there is a extreme cold watch. First time I've said that.
Yeah, I have never seen one of these.
So we were trying to remember what they were called. Was it wind chill watch before?
It was wind chill watch.
Okay.
So yeah, they went from wind chill watch warning advisory to extreme cold watch and warning and cold weather advisory.
So this is cold to take seriously. We've had this type of alert issued before, just not with its new name. I think this is the second year or third year.
I know we've had cold weather advisories
We
thus
just haven't
far.
had the extreme cold watch.
The extreme cold watch is another step in the cold department.
I'd say that, even for the hardiest of Mainers, this is going to be kind of tough to take over the weekend. Remember the pets. You don't want to leave them out for too long.
Yep.
And if you're going away for the weekend or going to be traveling, or in the past when we've had really cold weather, you've had issues with pipes freezing and
Yeah,
whatnot.
plumbing and such.
Yeah, a good idea to leave it on drip or open up the cabinets just to get some air circulation.
I knew about dripping the faucets. I did not know about like opening cabinets to let air flow in there.
Yeah,
That was a new thing I learned this winter.
That's something that they say helps. I think it just helps the air circulate a little bit more.
Yeah, especially maybe if it's like an exterior wall, like a kitchen sink, for example, gets it closer to the inside house temperature.
And we'll show you just for an example what one of the computer models puts out for wind chills on Saturday. This is a European model.
That's pretty substantial.
Yeah. You know,
it's Maine, but
Right.
this is also cold for Maine.
and obviously if the wind speeds go down slightly, these extreme numbers won't verify, but it's been showing this now for
Yeah,
a few
getting into
days.
the minus 40s, like when one of these models, you get into like that very light teal color.
Right.
That's the extreme cold,
And Sunday we have less wind, so that
which is
will
helpful.
help.
Yeah.
High pressure's right over us on Sunday. It's still cold, but the wind may even go calm Sunday morning.
And the winds have a pretty big impact, especially when you get to temperatures of that caliber. Stay tuned later this week. I'll discuss that a little more.
Looking forward to it. So now let's jump ahead to what all of social media is up in a buzz about. We've been talking about this
If you've
storm.
been on the internet lately.
Yeah, we've been talking about this storm, and it is going to be a big storm spatially in that the deep south, the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, and now the northeast will all get impacted by it. And a
Yes.
couple of people were wondering, well, it's going to be so cold. Won't that suppress the storm to the south? It's not always the case.
And you and I were talking earlier, especially because it's going to be so cold here when we're talking about snowfall amounts, for example, there's a very fine line between cold that causes the fluff factor where you get more snow and so cold that there's not enough moisture and you end up with less snow. It's a very fine line to draw.
Exactly, and our temperatures will be on that end of the scale where good snow growth production and kind of like a drier, finer snow become close to each other. This area of high pressure, if it were to be digging down, that would help suppress a lot of the snow to our south. But it looks like it actually kind of pulls away and weakens some
Yeah, it
on
starts
Sunday.
retreating, which sort of opens a door for the low to the south to pull farther north.
Exactly. So the original thinking was it could be a southerly track, mostly a miss for us here, could be brushed in southern New England. But the trends are closer to, as we've talked about on this show before, the benchmark, 40 north, 70 west. To get a good storm in Maine or a big storm in Maine, you generally want it inside of that benchmark. One that comes near it can usually bring the most to southern Maine. And the trend is at least for a track closer to that.
Yes. I mean, this storm has the potential to cause a lot of trouble down south, especially because they don't have the infrastructure
Right.
for seeing a storm like this because it's not something that they would usually see. Obviously, here in Maine, if we get a couple of inches of snow, that's par for the course, but it's still a big, impactful system.
I have a
Just
map for
depending
this
on where you
somewhere.
are.
I'm trying to look for. Here it is. So this is kind of just a look at the impact to our south. Snow, freezing rain.
Yeah,
It's
so
just a broad look,
it's big.
obviously, but
This
you get
is-
the idea. A lot of major hubs are going to be impacted by this for air
Exactly,
travel.
and it's why a lot of social media has been discussing this storm at length because it has such a wide impact. It's not just people in North Carolina talking about it, it's a lot.
There is still some uncertainty for us in the details. I think that clearly the chances for accumulating snow have gone up Sunday afternoon, night into Monday.
Yep.
The extent, it's still tough to say at this point. We're about 5 days out from this starting.
So we're sort of in that thinking about the track.
Right. This is a look at the European ensemble on the left, the GFS ensemble on the right, so an average of a bunch of different computer model runs of each. And the probability for 6 inches or more of snow has gone up substantially on both. On the Euro, it's about 40% over southern Maine, and it even gets 10% probabilities up north. On the GFS, it's not quite as impressive. It just probably means it's a little more dispersive and spread. So
And
the
for
bottom
fans
line
of
is
the
we just-
Canadian, it's the farthest north one that I've seen thus far.
Yeah, we're kind of like in the here area, but right about 5 days out. Maybe tomorrow we can start to get a little more specific. I'd say
Yes.
more likely on Friday we can probably
Yeah,
focus in.
and that chance of, if it continues to trend in this northerly direction like it has, which I have a little bit of like a gut feeling that it will keep going a little farther north, that's when we'll start to narrow that stuff down and say, okay, like snow incoming.
And one challenge is the models have not been great in the last 6 weeks. And obviously it's our job to interpret them and come up with a forecast, but even close into these things, it has been very challenging.
Yeah,
So-
and when you're trying to work with all of your information and all your information is very different, it makes it harder for us. But it can make it fun.
It can be.
It makes it
and,
fun.
we got cold coming, so that's a big message. And then snow odds are going up for Sunday night. So
Yeah, cold
Questions?
first, snow's
There you go.
next.
Questions, send them along. You are here tomorrow, right?
I think so.
And we should be back in our other studio. So
All right.
hopefully we have all three of us.
See you then.
See you later.